We welcome you live to the NASCAR iRacing FedEx Cup Series Season number 4. Penultimate race of the season, the championship cutoff at Texas Motor Speedway. We are live here tonight from the Lone Star State, the second to last race of the year, and of course, one final showing before the championship race from Homestead Miami Speedway. Next week, it is Texas Motor Speedway tonight to decide your championship 4. And we are live here tonight from the Texas Motor Speedway. This is a big one. We'll be deciding the 4 drivers that will officially race for a Cup Series championship next week at Homestead. Of course, 2 already locked in. We'll talk about that. And then, of course, there are 2 remaining spots open between 6 remaining drivers that are going to have to try to lock themselves in here in the final race of the round of 8. Of course, we'll be split in half, and it'll be the highest finisher of those championship 4 drivers, your champion, next week for the second to last race of this Cup Series season. And of course, in this warm-up session coming up, half hour like usual. And then you got 2 laps of qualifying, 134 laps, 201 miles for the race. Lap 67, the end of that going to be halfway break as usual. Stage points up for grabs there. Stage points also up for grab for the pole. The 0x like usual. Nothing changes here. Normal mile and a half race, but of course, the final race of the round of 8, the final race before the championship. We decide the championship 4 tonight from Texas Motor Speedway. It is a big, big night here in the NASCAR iRacing FedEx Cup Series. Race number 24 of this Cup Series season. And the second to last race for the foreseeable future with this Gen 7 NASCAR race car, of course, as the Cup Series, like it's well documented, moving to the Gen 4 car next season, full time. All right, cars about to pull onto the racetrack here in Texas. The Cup Series playoffs ready to continue for the second to last race of the year, the final race before the championship. We'll be live in about 30 seconds from Texas Motor Speedway in this warm-up session. All right. So stay tuned from Texas Motor Speedway. We'll be live in about 1 minute. All right, here we go in Texas. It is the NASCAR iRacing FedEx Cup Series live from the Lone Star State, the Texas Motor Speedway. Here we go. Cars on the racetrack. We're live in Texas tonight. In the NASCAR iRacing FedEx Cup Series, the final race before the championship. Cars on the racetrack for this warm-up session from Texas Motor Speedway. And here we go, live from Texas tonight. Of course, all playoff drivers, like usually, going to be seeing them with the P next to the name on the ticker, also the purple background on their number, and of course their playoff banners. Here's the 81 of Sean Hill, which enters tonight minus 21 of the playoff cut line. Speaking of the playoff cut line, let's look at that playoff cut line coming in tonight to Texas. Of course, Matthew White locked in. He's had an incredible playoff so far. He'll be going for his second Cup Series championship next week at Homestead Miami. That's guaranteed. And he's locked into the championship 4. Also got Braden Hunsicker. He is plus 48 to the cut line. After winning in Dover last week, he is also now locked into the final 4. Cameron Chandler needs to be plus 33 to be locked in. He's currently plus 30, so he's very, very close to being able to do that. So we'll see what he can do throughout this race, getting maybe good stage points at the beginning and locking himself into the final 4. Then it gets interesting. Dylan Banks, plus 10 over Ashton Miller. That would have been an exact tie if Ashton Miller didn't have that penalty after Martinsville. That took away 10 points. That could have been really, really insane. But it's the reality. He minus 10. You got John Butler. He's had a really solid year all around, but still minus 19 to the cut line. Sean Hilquich, minus 21. And Trenton Wilkin down minus 22, like we said. He's going to have to have a pretty much perfect night. Same thing with his teammate Sean Hilquich, as there's the 81 Hilquich rolling onto the racetrack now. And, of course, cars on the racetrack. There's your Xfinity Series winner last night. Of course, locked himself into the Xfinity Final 4 as well. That is Alexander Ortega in one of his Select Cup Series starts. So good at the mile and a half. Got to watch out for him tonight. Yeah, Texas. Also on the racetrack, that's the 7-9 of Ashton Miller. Like we said, enters tonight -10 to the playoff cut line. See what Ashton can do. There goes Matthew. Oh my God, Matthew White gets absolutely slammed by Miller, and now the 79 car is on his lid and rolling back down upside down. Here's Bryce Benson rolling off the pits. There's the 28 of Ortega again. Here's the 18. That's Brandon Pfeiffer. He actually will be full-time in the Cup Series next season. That was announced earlier today. That'll be for Giesbert Racing Management. Here's the 81, Sean Hill, which, of course, like we mentioned, enters -21 to his teammate, Dylan Banks, here in the 48. Of course, Dylan +10 entering tonight here at Texas. He won here a season ago, so he's got great momentum with that. We will see what Dylan Banks can do tonight. Of course, the absolutely huge news in the NASCAR iRacing FedEx League announced today is with Dylan Banks. Dylan announced that he is going to be moving down to the NASCAR iRacing FedEx Xfinity Series next season full-time in the number 88 car for Ethan Schindler Racing, of course. That is huge news. He'll be leaving the Cup Series, but obviously not leaving the league. He will still be in the NASCAR iRacing FedEx Xfinity Series. So great news to hear for Dylan staying in the league. He planned to leave the Cup Series just because of the car change. Prefers the next gen a lot more and didn't want to drive the Gen 4, but he'll be in full-time in Xfinity next season, or I should say Grand National next season. Oh, in the wall goes Cameron Chandler here down the back straightaway, and he'll spin the wall again. Oh, slam into the back of Knox Thompson in that 08. Here is the 71 of Cole Clausen. Of course, made the playoffs this season, got limited in the first round like we know, it's well documented, but running a beautiful Bucky's paint scheme tonight. Of course, it was another huge announcement this week. MNF Racing is going to be moving down to the NASCAR iRacing FedEx Xfinity Series as well. So they will be full-time with, of course, Cole Clausen most notably moving down, your Season 2 Cup Series champion. Also get your Season 3 Cup Series champion, Dylan Banks, moving down as well. And then you talk about even more, of course, with MNF, they'll also have Landon Fish, Ethan McMillan, and another rookie, Elijah Miller, in the Xfinity Series next season. Here's Zane Rahman. He's full-time in the Xfinity Series. Will be next season as well. A huge announcement for the NASCAR iRacing FedEx Cup Series side over this week was Aiden Donahue is going to be returning to full-time racing, one of the best drivers in the league. He is back and will be full-time in the NASCAR iRacing FedEx Cup Series next season. That is absolutely huge news, and so excited to see Aiden back next year. Alexander Ortega, of course, like we said, now side-by-side with Matthew White, locked himself into the Final Four in the Xfinity Series last night. That Xfinity Final Four is absolutely stacked with Justin Bryant, Alexander Ortega, Richard Cherry, and Cole Wilson. 10 wins between those 4 drivers this year in Xfinity. Ortega heads side-by-side with the 7 of Matthew White through 1 and 2. Oh, and the White into the wall a little bit goes White. Of course, Matthew locked into the Final Four. All right, once again, racing door-to-door down this front straightaway here at Texas. Side-by-side action, heading back at a 1 and 2. Still side-by-side again. There's a 79. That is Ashton Miller. Got Zane Rahman with Brandon Pfeiffer down the front straightaway as well. We're live in Texas tonight for the NASCAR iRacing FedEx Cup Series. Still getting started in this warm-up session. Just about 19 minutes to go. Not even halfway. So far, top of the board is Matthew White. Second place, Ashton Miller. That is big because you look down on 14th. Dylan Banks, of course. Ashton comes in -10 to the 48 car. Needs a really good night over him. Look at that. That is big if Ashton has that much speed over Dylan, but we don't know if Dylan is so good here at Texas. Won here last season. But Ashton Miller isn't too bad here at Texas either. Interesting battle, of course. Dylan has to just have a good day. Can't let Ashton score too many points on him. And he is good to advance for his second straight championship. We're looking for back-to-back Cup Series championships for the driver of the 48 as he'll move full-time to the Xfinity Series next season. Alexander Ortega is one of these drivers, of course, I mentioned the success he's had, but he does not have a ride lined up for next season. So we'll see what happens there. I don't know if Team Chandler Wilson Racing is going to have room for him in their Xfinity program. We'll see. He's, of course, had interest in moving full-time to the Cup Series. We'll see what happens. As Ethan McMillan goes way up the racetrack here in that 70 car as they head down the backstretch here at Texas Motor Speedway. Highline Motorsports has been absolutely on fire throughout these playoffs. They can mathematically lock up the Team Owners Championship tonight as well. They currently enter plus 37 on a Team Chevy Motor Club for that battle for the team's championship. There's Sean Hilkich in the middle of the track. So Braden Hunsaker and Matthew White can both have good nights over drivers like Cameron Chandler, Bryce Benton, and they can maybe advance. There's Terry as well, but they can maybe advance to the Final Four, or to win the Team Owners Championship. Speaking about Team Chevy Motor Club, one of their drivers, Payson Lindsay, of course, full-time in the Cup Series for his second straight season, missed the playoffs this year for the first time in his career after winning in Daytona last season. Of course, he has been suspended for the rest of this NASCAR iRacing FedEx Cup Series season for actions in another league. Created an absolutely massive crash that included a lot of the other FedEx drivers. It's a league that a lot of these FedEx guys came together from FedEx and now running that on Saturdays, I believe. All right, still going here in Texas. Not just halfway through this warm-up session yet, but we're getting close. Sean Hilkich currently sits 14th on the board. He's been running 2 laps now in that 81. He's going to have some more pace in this machine if he wants to do any better. His way back on a 1 and 2. Of course, Texas Motor Speedway, definitely an interesting mile and a half. Of course, like I mentioned, second to last race of the year. The last 2 races of the season, and now Hilkich will get loose and almost spin here down the backstretch. 2 last races this year are going to be on mile and a halves at Texas tonight, and then, of course, the championship next week at Homestead, Miami. Can't get much different, though, with those 2. These 2 Ford Mustangs head down the front straightaway. Just looking to get over how beautiful that 71 of Cole Clausen is in the car. Oh, he's loose and trying to hang on to that race car. And he will spin down this backstretch at Texas. All right. So it'll just be me in the booth tonight. I know the last bunch of weeks we've had a full-packed booth for the Cup Series. Need a little bit of a break, so it's just going to be me tonight up here in the booth. I'll be giving you all the answers. Going to be staying focused with that final battle for the championship 4 spots, staying focused for all the points battles and whatnot as we advance to the championship 4 next week at Homestead Miami Speedway. We are only a week away from deciding a new NASCAR iRacing FedEx Cup Series champion. Will we maybe get a not a back-to-back champion, but maybe a second championship for drivers like Matthew White, Dylan Banks, or will we have a first-time champion? Thinking about Braden Hunsaker, probably one of the favorites, Cameron Chandler as well, if he can lock himself in tonight. Of course, the second time the Cup Series has visited Texas in history. Last season, of course, like I mentioned, was won by the 48 of Dylan Banks. Dylan wins tonight. It'll pretty much put a damper in Ashton Miller's hope for advancing. There's Banks heading through 1 and 2 again. Needs a solid night. I would say a top 5, maybe bottom top 5, 6th place run, maybe good stage points in the top 10, finishing in the top 10. Ashton Miller not doing too much better. After that, I think he would be good to advance as well. Plus 10 to the cut line. That's not a lot, but it's definitely better than being like plus 2 or something like that. Oh, and here's the 29 Richard Sherry getting loose in 1 and 2 and spinning up the racetrack. He almost gets shot by Sean Hilkich, and he goes around here down this backstretch. Of course, 4 drivers will lose their playoff banners, numbers, and P next to their name Actually, it'll be a C4 next to everybody's name. The Championship 4 drivers next week at Homestead, Miami for both Cup and Xfinity. First Championship weekend is coming. It'll be a big one at Homestead next week. We will decide a Cup and Xfinity Series champion for season number 4. Of course, haven't really done too many things announcing what's going on Championship week. We're waiting till that, but we'll actually have a trophy for the Cup Series, most likely not for the Xfinity Series. We'll also have a most popular driver vote coming next week. And both Cup and Xfinity champions will have very, very long, not very, very long, but long extended post-race interviews. Will be soaking in the moment, asking how the season all went overall. They'll be, of course, the Cup Series champion will be receiving his trophy in the coming weeks after that. And celebrations will continue to get more perks after that. It definitely is good. It's more about it. Can't talk. It's definitely a lot of perks to winning the Cup Series championship. Not just pride, obviously. A trophy, get some good benefits and whatnot, get good exposure, get interview time, a lot of different stuff. We were gonna have, of course, burnouts on Broadway at the Chicago Street Course, but that, of course, has been canceled. That'll allow for season number 5 to kickstart sooner. Maybe I'm not going to announce anything officially yet, but maybe think schedule coming out maybe not just about mid-November, and think maybe Daytona Speed Weeks after the class, after preseason Thunder, and maybe the early portions of December. So we aren't even too far off from that. It will not be an extremely long off-season at all. Definitely not like seasons past. Oh, 3 wide action as they squeeze each other down this front stretch of Texas. We still got this season to finish out. 2 races to go for the Cup Series. And we'll decide the final 4 tonight. All right, there's Juan Cobbs Jr. currently on pit road. He's actually going to be starting his own team next season, iRacing, in the Cup Series full-time. That's 67 cars. That is definitely good news for Juan Cobbs Jr. fans. Clausen definitely is one of them. So fuel window tonight, that's another thing we have to talk about. It's actually going to be a little bit shorter than usual, so if there's no cautions here in the first half of the race, maybe in the first, first half of the race, then we will see green flag pit stops. Get a caution maybe like lap 35, lap 40, then they're probably going to pit under caution. They'll be good to the end of the half. It's about 40 to 43 laps good on fuel here in Texas. A little bit shorter than usual. It was adjusted a little bit this week. Most likely, if it goes successfully tonight, it'll be the same thing in Homestead, Miami next week. 9 minutes to go here in Texas warm-up session. Way up the racetrack next 67 car. And now he'll head down the backstretch. There's Dylan Banks. Oh, hard on the wall. Goes one car, and they are going to crash big time down this back straightaway. Multiple cars involved. On the backstretch here at Texas. Oh, and there's John Butler going to squeeze his way by. Now, of course, practice continues from Texas Motor Speed. We'll be right back from the Lone Star State. About 9 minutes to go in this warm-up session from the second to last race of the year. Breaking news live from Texas Motor Speedway tonight. Playoff driver, round of 8 driver as well, of course, Trenton Wilkin, driver number 12 for Ethan Trendler Racing, who signed a contract extension with ETR to remain with the team next season here in the Cup Series. He's, of course, entering tonight 8th in the points, minus 22 the championship cut line, but his championship hopes are now over. He will not be in this race tonight, having a personal issue, so we definitely wish him the best with that. And Trenton, unfortunately, will not be making the start tonight here at Texas. In the wall, hard goes Dylan Banks down the backstretch. All right. Pass through 1 and 2 goes Cameron Chandler. There is the one of Zane Rahman as well behind him. Head down this backstretch. About 6 minutes and 45 seconds to go in Texas practice. There's the 8th car of Chandler. Let's actually take a ride along with Cameron through this lap as he gets into the 1 and 2. He's actually going to downshift in the 4th gear. Something you don't usually see in a whole ton of the mile and a half. Oh, but he's going to get really, really loose, trying to save the race car. My God. I didn't really expect that loose moment. He's going to get ran into by Zane Rahman down the backstretch, and they will both crash. All right. There's Braden Hunsaker. So, of course, I heard them downshifting. That's why I wanted to go on board the car. Oh, my God. Connor Havrilla nearly ran into somebody there. Of course, Connor Havrilla had a good year this season, made the Cup Series playoffs, but unfortunately for him, got eliminated in the first rounds, round of 12, one of the first 4 out. We'll be back full time next season, though, with iRacing once again in this 50 car. See what it can do in the Gen 4 cars. It's definitely going to make things a whole lot interesting. I mean, I would expect drivers like Matthew White, Cameron Chandler, Braden Hunsaker, and Donnie Bryce Benson, Trenton Wilkin, those kind of guys, Ashton Miller, to be so good in the Gen 4 like they are in this Gen 7 car. But you never know. You can see some surprising faces perform in that race car. What are we going to see these final 2 races of the next gen this season and here in Season 4? We'll be deciding a Cup Series champion, like we said. All right, about 4 minutes and 50 seconds to go. Of course, 2-lap qualifying coming up, single car qualifying here in the Cup Series like usual. All right. Going now into the wall goes, oh, the 77 of Braden Hunsaker. That was a hard in. He will collect Cole Clausen, of course. They go on the wall. Dylan Banks. Oh, man, Zane Rahman just comes in there to destroy them as well. All right. Here's Ashton Miller now down the backstretch here in that 79 car. Of course, enters tonight. Minus 10 to the playoff cut line, or the championship cut line. Needs to have a good day. In the wall, that's down the backstretch. There's Knox Thompson. Down the backstretch goes Matthew White. On top of the board now for a little bit. They're just get good momentum heading to championship Homestead next week. Now he's going to go rounds. All right. Minutes to go in this warm-up session from Texas Motor Speedway. what are we going to see from Texas tonight? It's going to be a little bit of a smaller field, most likely tonight, just missing some drivers. They should all be back tomorrow or next week, of course, for the Cup Series Championship at Homestead, Miami. That's a big race. You're going to see it probably a much bigger field than this. Oh! Ashton Miller going to get slammed down the front straightaway with Alexander Ortega. 2 minutes and 20 seconds to go in Texas. Ooh, big overcorrection. Almost on his roof goes Knox Thompson in the 08. All right. And a minute and 40-something seconds to go here in Texas for the warm-up session. There's Reagan spinning into the wall down this front stretch. Now on pit road, of course. All right. So, cars can head down. Here, of course, qualifying coming up next. So, if let's say a driver like Ashton Miller maybe wins the pole here, that's of course a bonus point for the pole, and then you're up front on Dylan Banks. That's definitely going to be the absolute goal for Miller. Banks is 6th place on the board. Ashton is down in 9th. He's coming up in right. So, we'll see how that goes. Clausen currently P15 on the timing board right now here in Texas, under a minute to go. There's Bryce Benton in the wall. Of course, he made the playoffs, but a shocking exit of the round of 12, of course, at Martinsville about almost a month ago at this point. There's Reagan, 36 to the inside as well. All right, time counting down at Texas. Just about ready to go for qualifying at Texas Motor Speedway. Here we go from the Lone Star stage. This is Knox Thompson loses oh my God, what a hit. Heading down the front straightaway. There's the one of Zane Herman as well. He gets involved. Let's just say Texas isn't exactly the driver's favorite track, so a lot of drivers that don't exactly need to be here because they're not in the playoffs or whatever aren't actually going to be here, as that's why there's very, very short fields for tonight. But obviously everyone back next week in Miami, but here we go. Qualifying coming up in Texas. This is it to decide the championship 4, of course. This is Texas Motor Speedway tonight in the NASCAR iRacing FedEx Cup Series. And it's qualifying time. Who's going to win the pole? Will it be a driver below the cut line like Ashton Miller, Sean Hilquich? Will it be a driver that's maybe locked in? Maybe Dylan Banks, who's plus 10? We'll have to wait and see here in Texas. Here we go. Maybe a non-playoff driver. You never know. And your winner last week at Dover, Braden Hunsaker, makes his way through 1 and 2. He's had the most wins of his career this year, 5 already this season. Double, that's actually half of his career wins. He's got 10 career wins in the Cup Series. Had an excellent year. And he'll be racing for a championship next week. Same thing with his teammate Matthew White. Also locked in the race for his 2nd Cup Series championship. Braden looking for his 1st. Here's Knox Thompson in the 08, heading down the front straightaway. Miller so far top of the board now. White goes fastest. Of course, he got 2 laps to do it. Miller on a 2nd lap. We'll see if lap 2 brings any improvements, but a great lap by Matthew White. Oh, Miller's going to get loose and go around. He'll spin on the back straightaway. Around goes Ashton Miller. Braden Hunsaker, he looks like he got loose as well, and his lap definitely killed. Matthew White, backing it down, got loose on this lap. Hilquich goes 4th on lap 1. We have, of course, seen lap 2 not been so good. Clausen goes 5th. Thompson now rolls in 5th place And now Hilquich is going to qualify 4th for now. Still a lot of heavy hitters to go. John Butler all the way back in 8th. Here is the 29 Cherry down the front stretch as well. Back at a 1 and 2. He's in the Xfinity Series Championship 4. And now Cameron Chandler pulling his 8 car on the racetrack. Enters tonight plus 3rd of the cut line. Just needs a good run in the stage, and he'll be locked into the final 4. John Butler here down the front straightaway, currently last of the cars that have qualified, trying to improve on that. Across the line he'll go. It's 9th. Not great for the driver that needs points tonight to try to advance. It's definitely a long shot. As Cameron Chandler now heads down the front stretch on that 8 car, Cherry goes 3rd. Still, there's no one touching Matthew White, but you still got drivers like Ortega, Chandler, Banks, Benton to qualify. 2 minutes and 20 seconds to go. Here's Ortega on the racetrack. 2 wins this season in the Cup Series at Nashville and Chicagoland. So he makes his way through 1 and 2 in that 28. Ooh, he's up the racetrack. Lewis trying to chase it, heading down the backstretch. There's Dylan Banks. He's currently running slow. Miller, Havrilla goes P5. Not a bad lap for him at all. Chandler P6 currently. Ashton Miller is currently in 2nd, so Dylan Banks needs a good lap here. He's running slowly. Maybe just going to rely on lap 2. We'll have to wait and see. Of course, you get point for the belt pole. It's currently going to Matthew White. Ashton Miller would have loved to have that, but it's not meant to be. As now Cameron Chandler heads down the front stretch on his final lap in qualifying. We'll see if this is an improvement. No, it is not. We haven't seen a lot of improvements on lap 2. Seems like it's kind of mostly 1 and done. Ortega up the racetrack in that 28. Maybe coming to the green this time. But oh, he's loose! And Alexander Ortega goes in the wall. This will most likely be qualifying over for the 28. Now Dylan Banks. One more hot lap to do it. That was 15th on lap 1. It was just a warm-up lap. Let's see what he can do on his good lap. Your winner last season at Texas. Heading down the backstretch, comes into this race plus 10 to the Championship 4 cut line. Needs a good run just to keep it over Ashton Miller. Bryce Benton goes 2nd place. In the corner of my eye, here comes Banks off turn number 4, and down the front stretch he'll go to the checkered flag for the 48. Miller is 3rd. That's who he's most likely racing, and Banks is 2nd. What a lap by the 48. Half a 10th off Matthew White, and that is going to help. Ortega, maybe one final run here. Don't know if he has time, though. Through 1 and 2 goes the 28 car on the bottom. Might be just short on time, and he's loose anyways. Might not be the best starting spot at all for Alexander Ortega. He might just miss it. 5 seconds to go. Heading down the front straightaway, he might just get it. I don't know. It's going to be close. I don't know if he got it. Did he? He did. It's 4th. Wow. By a split second, he's going to move up about 15 positions because of that. That is big for Alexander Ortega. He'll be 4th. And that'll do it. Qualifying in Texas. Matthew White on pole. Doesn't matter. He can win this race. Won't change anything. He's already locked into the Championship 4. But this is Texas. The final race before the championship. I know it's a small field, but we most likely expect that at Texas. Not exactly the driver's favorite, especially with this new next-gen package. But hopefully we get some surprisingly good racing tonight. It's Texas. Let's go over your starting order before we look at the playoffs. Of course, Matthew White on pole. Dylan Banks, that's important. Starting 2 is outside. 3rd place, Bryce Benton. 4th place, Alexander Ortega, both non-Cup Series playoff drivers. Then you go back to Ashton Miller. He was 2nd, and so those last few cars went and knocked him down. Then you got Cherry Hunsicker, your winner last week. Haverla starts 8th. Chandler starts 9th. So he's going to have to make his way through the field if he wants to get good stage points here. And currently enters plus 30, and Hilquich, of course, rounds out your top 10. Rest of the field is on the left side of your screen. Of course, halfway break going to be at the under lap number 67, and this is your playoffs. These are your playoff standings entering tonight here at Texas. All right, so second, back to them, of course. White, Hunsicker, both locked in. Hunsicker won at Dover last week. They got Chandler plus 30. Just needs to have a good stage here. Dylan Banks plus 10 over Ashton Miller. John Butler minus 19. They got Sean Hilquich minus 21. That's most likely unrealistic for Sean, but you never know what can happen. crazy things going to happen here at Texas Motor Speedway in the Cup Series. As cars roll, ready to come to green next time by. We'll check pit road speed, of course, this time by. Before they come to bring them to pit road. All right. This is Texas. We are live from Texas Motor Speedway tonight. 134 laps today to decide your championship 4. Whole bonus point is already taken away. You can still get another little bonus point from 0x. That could matter. You never know. And then, of course, the stage points that will be awarded to the top 10. As always, and then the race points. 20th, your winner. 16th, second place. 15th, third place. And on down to 17th place, your final point scorer. And here they come to pit road. Smallest field we've had in a long time in the NASCAR iRacing FedEx Cup Series. Just because it's Texas and Next Gen kind of ruins Texas, the new Next Gen update. But hopefully we'll still have a pretty good one tonight to decide your championship 4. The drivers that don't need to be in this race exactly don't want to be in this race, to be honest, because how bad this combo has been lately. But we'll see what happens. Still don't want to tune away. This is going to be one heck of a race, possibly. Never know. Anything could happen here at Texas as we come to 1 to go to the start. Of course, choose code, as always, going to be down the front straight away. And here we go from Texas Motor Speedway. 23 races in the books. One more race to decide your championship 4 as we go to Miami next week, where 4 drivers will race for a Cup Series championship. Of course, Dylan Banks enters plus 10 to the playoff cut line. Your winner last season at Texas starts second tonight. If he wins this race tonight, he's got nothing to worry about. He's into the Final 4 anyways, even on points. Of course, you can't lock yourself into the championship 4 with a win, but you can do it on points. Dylan enters plus 10. That would be enough, obviously. Matthew White, though, on pole, of course, probably your championship favorite. One of them at least entering next week at Homestead. If Dylan Banks makes this Final 4, it could be with any of them, like the Xfinity Series. All right. Here we go in Texas. It's the penultimate race of the Cup Series season. One race left to decide your championship 4 for next week. Here we go. We are racing from Texas Motor Speedway. Dylan Banks gets an early jump on Matthew White. Heading back at a 1 and 2, I believe that would be legal. White just didn't go. As they race back at a 1 and 2, Banks will take the lead already. Heading it down this backstretch of Texas Motor Speedway. Side by side for a second here on the opening lap between Alexander Ortega and Matthew White. As they head down the front straightaway again, Dylan Banks going to lead lap 1 here at Texas Motor Speedway, though. Side by side for the race lead between these two. Heading back at a 1 and 2. Ortega on that outside lane, pushing up the racetrack. White, though, back in the bottom of that 7 car. These two definitely have history. How hard will Ortega race that playoff driver of Matthew White? Now he's going to get into second place and try to run down your leader, Dylan Banks. Fury here fourth. Look back, Ashton Miller back into 7th place up the racetrack. Goes Ortega a little bit. White going to try to get a run down this front stretch again. Heading back into 1 and 2. Look back here, there's Sean Hilkich currently running in 8th place. Hunsicker in 9th. Look at that, Cameron Chandler's fallen all the way back to 12th here in the opening 3 laps. Not quite sure what's going on with Cameron's race car. Dylan Banks continues to lead through 3 and 4. Doing everything he can to try to advance to the Final 4 for the 2nd straight season. Of course, they'll be going for an Xfinity Series title next year. Matthew White trying to get to the bumper of that 28 of Ortega. We got a battle maybe for 4th place being going on between Team Chevy Motor Club teammates Richard Cherry and Bryce Benson. There's Connor Havrilla starting off his run strong in 6th. Banks trying to pull away from Ortega as they head down the front stretch again. Here's Havrilla looking at the inside aggressively through the grass. My God, Bryce Benton put a big block on him as they head back into 1 and 2. Havrilla going to slide way up the racetrack. Luckily, you got a ton of room here in Texas trying to save the race car, but he's loose. But that's right ahead of Ashton Miller. And now Miller to the outside of the 50 car, battle for 6th. Side by side, back into 3 and 4. And Miller going to take P6 away, and Haverla slides back up the racetrack and falls back to 7th. We also get a side-by-side battle between Hilkwich and Hunsicker down the front stretch to go. Now, some chaos in this opening 2 laps. Now look at Ashton Miller. He knows he's got to fight. Now with your leader being Dylan Banks, battling with Bryce Benson for 5th place. Banks, he wins this race, obviously, into the championship for no matter what on points. So they head down the front stretch yet again. Of course, Cameron Chandler all the way back into 12th place, like we mentioned. Not quite sure what's going on with the 8. On lap 7 in Texas. Oh, we got a car loose! That was, I believe, Brandon Pfeiffer. Ethan McMillan also had a moment. Pfeiffer's going to give up the spot. Now 11th goes Cameron Chandler. Man, that was nearly a wreck for Brandon Pfeiffer. As Dylan Banks heads down this front straightaway again. Anthony White trying to close up to the back bumper. That's 28 of Ortega. They battle for P2. Richard Cherry up there in 4th place as well. Starting to close to the bumper. White in the 7th. Ortega now trying to run down that 48 of Dylan Banks. Got a side-by-side battle between that's Ashton Miller and Connor Haverilla. Haverilla trying to take 7th place back away. 6th place back away, and he will. Back up to P6 goes Connor Haverilla. Got a little bit of damage on the race. Go, Cole Clausen through the grass. He goes, got a car spinning. There's Ethan McMillan. Has a moment. He spins down the front straightaway. Into the wall he goes. No caution is being thrown. iRacing apparently thinks it's good to stay green. All right. But he has damage on that 70 machine. Obviously just lost it all on his own. Not what you want to see early in this race at all. Coming to lap 10 in Texas. Of course, Ethan McMillan moving down to the Grand National Series next season. Same thing with Cole Clausen. They both had moments on that lap. Clausen ended up saving it, but he's back in 12th place. 13th place, John Butler not having the run he needs. Cameron Chandler now inside the top 10, though, here in Texas. As Dylan Banks continues to lead from Texas Motor Speedway. Of course, Ashton would have to score more on Cameron to knock him out. Or to not lock him out, you know, man. Ashton currently runs 7th. He goes up the racetrack behind that 50 of Connor Haverilla. Dylan Banks has led all the laps so far here at Texas Motor Speedway. Still early on in this race. Oh, we got a car in the wall. Oh, my God. Pfeiffer just lost it all on his own. He no wreck down the back straightaway on his own. Man, what happened to Brandon Pfeiffer? Just completely lost the race car, and he is destroyed. He is done. Still got Ethan McMillan, and there is Pfeiffer on the bottom. We stay green, though, here in Texas. It was a single car incident. He got out of the way. No caution will fall. He just lost it all on his own there off corner exit. We see Bryce Benson having a little bit of a moment as well. Benson now racing there with Connor Haverilla as they head down the front stretch yet again from Texas Motor Speedway. Not sure what happened there with Pfeiffer. Obviously, just lost it all on his own. He is done already. That is something you cannot do. Of course, it was announced today that he's moving full-time to the Cup Series next season. And with the harder to drive Gen 4 car, that is something you cannot be doing. Gotta obviously work on that. So the green in Texas, Dylan Banks has led all the laps so far tonight. The second one of the year, probably should have a bunch of other wins this year. Remember, dominated the first half of Martinsville, was definitely the fastest car there, nearly won Las Vegas, was up front in Talladega. I mean, he's come close to so many wins this season. Only win this year, though, is Iowa. And Reagan now battling with Zainer Bond as they battle inside 13th place. We're small field tonight, so I know the top 10 is definitely packed with a ton of talent as always, but I mean, drivers that usually maybe run outside the top 20, like Zane Yerman, Max Thompson, Juan Cobbs Jr., they're having an opportunity to run here inside the top 20 because of the very small field of Texas tonight. that's what those kind of things definitely offer. Make your way through 3 and 4 again at Texas Motor Speedway. Now here's Bryce Benton trying to battle with Richard Cherry in that 29 car for 4th place team Chevy Motor Club teammates. Shockingly, the lowest TCMC car right now running is Cameron Chandler in 10th place, and to the inside now goes Benton trying to get there on Cherry. As they get a little bit loose, Cherry slides up the racetrack. He'll save his race car as he continues to run here in 4th place. Benton, though, looking to his inside. Cars definitely seem a little bit on edge here at Texas. When he saw that with Brandon Pfeiffer losing it on his own down the back straightaway, luckily he didn't cause a big accident with only him involved, and we stay green. Once again, they make their way through 1 and 2 from this Texas Motor Speedway. Battle now between Connor Haverhill and Ashton Miller. This is for 6th place again. They continue to go at it. Miller, though, needs more, especially with Dylan Banks leading this race. See Matthew White now running up here in 3rd. He's actually starting to get caught up by that 29 of Cherry. White, of course, started on pole, actually ended up losing the lead on the opening lap. As a battle for 3rd now starts to heat up between these two. The racetrack a little bit goes Cherry in at 29 now tries to catch Matthew White off course. He'll have a run coming down this front stretch. As he pulls his way through 1 and 2. Benton falling a little back. Cherry to the quarter panel, the 7th car. He's going to try to get there once again as they head down the backstretch. So far, early race at Texas, only 20 laps into this one. Dylan Banks is going to come to lead this lap again, and now Ashton Miller's got pressure from Braden Hunsaker on his back bumper. Definitely not the greatest start to his race, and Hunsaker going to drop to the inside here in that 77. Your winner in Dover last week. Won back-to-back races after winning in Talladega as well. He's looking to maybe sweep the round of 8 tonight if he could do that. It would be so impressive. Now Miller, a crossover back to the inside though, and Haverilla. Big move there as they head side by side back into 3 and 4. Haverilla up the racetrack a little bit, outside momentum coming as they head door to door down the front stretch again. And oh, almost through the grass goes Miller, and now you got Braden Hunsaker to his outside of the 77, back into 1 and 2. These three are putting on an absolute battle. Now Hunsaker to the inside of the 50 car as Miller gonna, of course, fall back to 8. Hunsaker side by side with Haverilla down the back stretch in the 3 and 4 again. And he's gonna slide his way back to the inside. Oh, Haverilla in the wall a little bit. Heading down the front stretch again here at Texas Motor Speedway. And he's going to fall back to 7th place. Braden Hunsaker up to 6th. Picks up 2 positions in those last few laps. Now Miller back to 8th place. Not what he wanted to see. So right along with Ashton Miller here. Let's actually listen to the shifting. Currently in 5th gear here through 3 and 4. And heading down the front straightaway again. Even in 5th gear, let's see what he does through 1 and 2. He's going to keep in 5th gear. So it looks like whole 5th gear. We got a car spinning here. Not really sure who that is. Apologize for that. I believe he was Ethan McMillan. Yes, it was. McMillan's slow in the apron in that 70 car. He has damage, and he's looking like he's going to bring it to pit road. Not the race Ethan McMillan wanted to happen after he announced he's, of course, M&F Racing and him are moving full-time to the Grand National Series next season. So, of course, Texas Motor Speedway, an interesting racetrack. You run slower through 1 and 2. Then you got to carry a lot of momentum, nearly wide open back into 3 and 4. 2 turns are very, very different. Makes for some interesting racing. Definitely passing opportunity is going to be most valuable through 1 and 2. 3 and 4, don't know what you can do through there. And how high speed it is and how hard it is to pass in this next gen car. Miller up the racetrack again there on Haverilla in that 50. Coming with a runoff, corner exit, down the back stretch they go. He's maybe looking to the inside as they head down the back stretch into 3 and 4. You got Cameron Chandler also looking in the wings back in there on that 8. And there's the 81 of Hillquich way up the racetrack. Look at the run he's getting. Oh, Haverilla in the wall a little bit. He slides Miller through the grass. He is loose. My goodness. Ashton Miller fighting for every spot he can. On the bottom, back into 1 and 2. Fighting, but here comes Hillquich. Up the racetrack he goes as they battle for 8th and 7th place. And this is bringing Cameron Chandler into the battle. Not at all what Ashton Miller wants to see. Heading back to 3 and 4. Hillquich, good run around the outside lane trying to clear Miller. Oh, he's going to get in the wall a little bit. Hillquich obviously needs a lot more. I mean, if Dylan Banks even finishes inside the top 10, I don't think he's going to make it. As they make their way through 1 and 2 again. Here comes the 8 of Chandler. And Hillquich is clear on Ashton Miller. And now you got Cameron Chandler on the bumper of that 79 car. Heading back to turns 3 and 4. Of course, Cameron doesn't need to do a whole lot to lock himself in. Not trying to take any risks. Currently running in 10th. This battle continues to rage on. Just inside the top 10. So a side-by-side battle for a second was between Bryce Benson and Richard Cheery, teammates at TCMC. Oh, Cheery, a little bit of a moment from the back end of that 29 car. They head down the back stretch again into 3 and 4. Now, look at the inside. Outside, I should say, is Sean Hillquich on Connor Haverilla. This is at a very, very interesting spot to make a pass. He is pushing it around the outside lane as they head side by side down the front straightaway through this final. My goodness, just kept it on the gas. You got to have a lot of trust on the guy on the inside of you. And he did, and it might pay off. Back in a 1 and 2, he's going to clear Connor Haverilla. Up in a P7 goes Sean Hillquich. And now here comes Miller. Again to the outside. Will he have trust now in the 50 car of Haverilla? Through 3 and 4 they go. Miller has been all over this racetrack in these battles, just inside the top 10. Side by side with Haverilla for 8th place. First, think about it. We're getting closer to the pit window. Should be about maybe 15 or so laps away. On lap 30 in Texas. Been all green so far. And Ashton Miller up to 8th place, he'll go. Bryce Benton now just got around Richard Cheery while we were watching that battle. Hunsicker having a bit of connection. Not quite sure what it is. We will see. Yeah, I don't know what it is. Obviously, some sort of connection issue for Braden Hunsicker. Hopefully that's able to sort itself out. Cars of pit road like you see, but Hunsicker currently not being scored in this session for whatever reason. Battle what would be for 7th place right now, but it is currently for 6th with Braden Hunsicker having those session issues between Sean Hillquich and Ashton Miller. Hunsicker giving you an update. I don't see anything. He hasn't disconnected or anything with packet loss, just not sure what's going on so far. And Cameron Chandler passes Connor Haverilla up in 8th place now. He's on the bumper of Ashton Miller. If he finishes here, he should be able to lock himself into the championship 4. And now Miller looking to the inside of the 81 of Hillquich. Side by side they go for position. Heading down this front stretch again. Good car coming up pit road. That is Connor Haverilla. Bringing his 50 car to pit road, the first one to jump here. I think that's probably a little bit early. Got 4 sets of tires on pit road, but maybe not loving the handling of his race car. Going to bring him to pit road early here on lap 33. Dylan Banks, though, continues to lead here at Texas. Will this now maybe start to bring some of your leaders to pit road? We'll have to wait and see. And Matthew White is pitting, so maybe not too early. Definitely a little bit shorter than some of these leaders were maybe expecting. As White will bring his 7 car to pit road here for this pit stop in this first stage. And yeah, of course, Haverilla getting service here. Hasn't rolled off pit road just yet, having a bit of a slow stop as Matthew White will come to his pit stall. Real quick, trying to give you an update what happened to Braden Hunsicker. His connection dropped due to packet loss. Of course, that is definitely very bad news for Braden. Let's Matthew White gets tires. There is still sitting on pit road. And we got more cars coming up. There's Zane Roman, Knox Thompson. Here comes the 9 of Bryce Benton as well. And your leaders, the 48 of Dylan Banks, the 28 of Alexander Ortega. Leaders on pit road for green flag pit stops. First round of them at Texas Motor Speedway. Probably getting 4 fresh Goodyear tires. Those Bryce Benton overshoots his pit stall. And in the 9 car, 4 fresh Goodyear tires, looking like it for your leaders. And no, it's only 2 for Dylan Banks. How will that work out? Where's Matthew White as they head down the front straightaway? Banks now rolls off pit road. White, of course, going to have the undercut. See how well it's able to work out. There he is in the 7 car. He's behind some lap traffic. Of course, Banks taking 2 here. How will that work out for the long run pace? And he's going to be way out in front as we go for second place. Matthew White, of course, undercut, going to try to pass Ortega, and he will. Up into P2, pitted about a lap earlier, and it'll work out to perfection for Matthew White as he undercuts Alexander Ortega on pit road. But, of course, Dylan Banks taking 2 tires. Got over now maybe a 4 or 5 second lead over Matthew White now. Here's some cars still yet to pit. Your leader currently is Richard Cherry. He had to bring his car to pit road as now there's Bryce Benton rolling off. He had a bit of a slow stop, I believe. What happened to Bryce? As Cherry continues to stay out to lead the pack here in Texas. Hillquich currently runs second. Miller runs third. Chandler fourth. Of course, still maybe about 10 cars yet to bring their cars to pit road. Avarilla back on the racetrack, 2 laps down. Bryce Benton also 2 laps down. Same thing with Cole Clausen. Braden Hunsicker going to give you one more update here. I don't really quick give you an update. His connection is still not back, so that is definitely unfortunate as John Butler looks like he's bringing his car to pit road. Hasn't had the race he's wanted so far here in Texas, but he's coming to pit road for the first time tonight in the 09. And there's your leader, Richard Cherry, continuing to lead, staying out. There is what would be your leader, Dylan Banks. We've got a battle now for what would be second place between the 7 of Matthew White and the 28 of Alexander Ortega. Of course, Ortega pitted about a lap later. White had the undercut, but Ortega's got ever so slightly fresher tires. Tires do seem to matter a little bit here in Texas, especially last night in the Xfinity Series. These two will battle what would be for second place. Through 1 and 2 they go. Obviously not the best of friends on and off the racetrack. We'll see how this all works out between these two. How is Banks going to be able to hold his ground on 2 tires? Ortega dropping to the inside through 3 and 4 in the 7 car. Side by side, they go, almost a little contact being made, and Alexander Ortega going to take the spot away from Matthew White. As now coming up at road, there goes Cameron Chandler, bringing his 8 car to pit road. So now a second group of cars coming. We had about a 6 or 7 lap break for pit stops. This is about when we expected leaders to come to pit road. Now the rest of them look like they will, as we'll see if Cherry comes to pit road just yet. Staying a little bit high, so I don't think now maybe he is. No, he's not. Not slow down his race car. Hillquich also stays out, and we got a car pitting. That's Ashton Miller on pit road. Obviously, you're going to get very, very undercutted from other drivers by pitting this late, but the overcut, the long run pace for your race car are going to be much better, as William Reagan also brings his 36 Ford Mustang for Johnson Motorsports to the pits. Side-by-side battle between Zane Vaughn and John Butler. This is actually for position. And Reagan brings his car to his pit stall. Still your leader, though, Dylan Banks. He will retake the lead once pit cycles finish up here. Still staying out. Juan Cobbs Jr., Sean Hillquich, and Richard Cherry. Here's the 48 of Banks trying to unlap himself, and maybe Hillquich dropping down low. Probably going to come in a pit road this time by. Here in that 81 car. All right, Sean Hillquich coming to pit road. Coming a little bit hot there. Has to smoke up the tires, but he is pitting. And I just got Juan Cobbs Jr. and Richard Cherry to come to pit road, and pit cycles will be completed here in the first half. The other 2 scheduled pit stops, of course, at the halfway break, and then in the second half of the race. You get another extra tire set after that, maybe looking for a late caution. Banks all over the back number trying to lap himself to Cherry. Ryan Cherry still hasn't brought that 29 to pit road. As they head back into 1 and 2. He's up the racetrack here, going to have, of course, fresher tires, even though it's only 2. Just going to wrap around Richard Cherry and unlap himself. Dylan, of course, just wants to keep this momentum rolling. Try to advance to the championship 4 for the 2nd straight season, and Cherry is pitting. Now, Juan Cobbs Jr., the only one yet to bring him to pit road. He will take the lead, but probably not for long, as Dylan Banks is coming. Ortega now going to be running 2nd. White going to be running 3rd, all the way back down to Sean Hillfish running 4th. There's Chandler. He jumped Ashton Miller. And he got Bryce Benton falling way back. He's currently a lap down at a bad pit stop. Got John Butler up here, so Haverhill also at that bad pit stop. So a lot of changes just inside the top 10. Juan Cobbs Jr. leads that lap, but Dylan Banks is coming quickly. To his rear bumper within no time. Pitting. There goes Juan Cobbs Jr. to pit run, and still Braden Hunsaker, I believe that this is his race over. He's 16 laps down right now as Cobbs rings to pit road. That is so unfortunate for Braden Hunsaker. Definitely not going to help out Highline Motorsports in the Teams Championship. We mentioned earlier, they enter this race, 37 points over Team Chevy Motor Club. Right now, they would still be able to win the championship today with Matthew White beating Cameron Chandler. Highline to Team CMC, but if White has an issue, maybe in another TCMC car has a great day, like Chandler or somebody else, like Cherry or Benton, that could be continuing the championship fight to Homestead next week. Miller all over the back number of Cameron Chandler. If Cameron finishes 5th in the stage here, he'll be locked into the championship 4 officially. Miller there, who's inside as they head down the backstretch again. Of course, Cameron just needed a good run on the stage. Entered tonight, plus 30 to the count line, and he's now to the inside for 4th place on Sean Hillquich. Cameron is absolutely fighting. Definitely some speed in this A car. Didn't see it early on in the race, but now, just about 50 laps in after the pit cycles are complete, starting to show some speed in that 8 machine. The racetrack he goes, going to wrap around Sean Hillquich, and they're going to split him 3 wide. Look at Ashton Miller on the bottom as well, side by side with the 81. As he will maybe pass Hillquich. Hillquich losing 2 spots on this lap. Still though, fighting back on the outside lane. Going to try to keep it side by side with Miller. Down the front stretch they go. Side by side, almost on the wall a little bit for Hillquich. Back into 1 and 2. Oh, he's going to slide way up the racetrack. He'll get tight, and we'll lose this spot officially. Back to 6th goes Sean Hillquich. As they make their way through 3 and 4 again here at Texas. Oh, and the wall goes Sean. He's through the grass, having to try to save the race. Oh, my God, he's going to come back in front of the field. Hard to the wall goes Hillquich. Caution is going to come out. Man. That is season over for Sean Hillquich. That was huge. And this is it. Sean Hillquich playoff chances are officially over. Loses it down the front straightaway here at Texas. Let's see what happens. And the caution will come out. I don't know. Of course, just running here by himself. Maybe some dirty air from Ashton Miller hits the wall. And I think he's got suspension damage after that. Through the grass he goes, and just can't save it. And then slamming head onto the wall. That's his playoff over. That's it. Sean Hillquich will not compete for a championship next week at Homestead Miami Speedway. And it's such a bad way for your rookie championship hopes to end. He had to hit the wall there, and then through the grass he goes. And just an odd accident. Just Oh. Oh, what a hit. So unfortunate. That'll bring out our first caution flag of the night here on lap 52. Under 20 laps to go to the halfway break, and there is Sean Hilquich on the pits. He is done for good. I mean, we'll see if anyone pits here. Maybe. No. Of course, came into this race the only rookie to actually make the playoffs this season. I mean, he currently leads the Rookie of the Year standings because it's on full season, so that's definitely good for him, but this is so unfortunate. These are his championship 4 hopes over. All by himself. I mean, if you think about it, those are just mistakes you cannot make. We'll obviously learn heading to next season. But so unfortunate for driver of the 81, Sean Hilquich, will be taken out in this one, and his playoff hopes, his playoffs will now end. Man. I mean, just a tough way to go out, obviously, but that brings out our first caution of the night here at Texas Motor Speedway. Not really what Dylan Banks wants to see, not even at all what ETR wants to see. They're leading the race, 2-second advantage with Banks over Ortega. And Hilquich now wrecks, and the caution will come out to take away Dylan's advantage. This definitely helps out drivers like Ashton Miller. If Dylan Banks has an issue here on the stage, he could capitalize on stage points. All right. A lot of cars being taken out early in this race already. I believe 4 DNFs. Already, we even have a small field entering tonight. So, an interesting race so far as we will come to the choose here at Texas. First caution of the day. Dank's going to choose the inside, and going low with him, going to be Ortega. That'll give the front row to Matthew White, and going outside with him will be Cameron Chandler. Outside again with them is Ashton Miller. That's kind of surprising. Bryce Benton ended up getting the free pass there. Get himself back on the lead lap. All right. Definitely an odd race because of how small the field is tonight, but we only have 11 cars in the lead lap right now. And Avarillo and Clausen both being trapped laps down at the moment. Cobbs as well. I believe Vaughn Cobbs Jr. there. He's rolling off in the 67. All right, we're going to restart here on lap 55 in Texas. It'll be 13 laps to go to the halfway break. Working the first caution of this night. It'll be Dylan Banks on the inside. He has dominated this race so far. Took the lead away from Matthew White on the initial start. Can Matthew White maybe repay the favor? We'll have to see. Here we go, ready for the restart in Texas. How much are drivers like Ashton Miller, Cameron Chandler willing to do for stage points? Pace car is in. You look at John Butler, also 7th. He comes into this needing a lot more than that, but still doing good. As we come back to the restart zone, much better restart for the inside lane. Dylan Banks is gone with Ortega on the bottom, pushing him down low. And Richard Cherry trying to go side by side with Matthew White. Oh, in the wall a little bit goes Cameron Chandler as they head back into 1 and 2. For this restart. Single file already as Miller on the bumper of that 8 car heading down this backstretch again. Ortega trying to get to the bumper of 48 of Banks, and now look at Richard Cherry past Matthew White, and this is the inside of Ellie's and Ortega for 2nd place. Ortega way up the racetrack, nearly in the walls to lift a little bit as they head side by side down the front straightaway. Almost a little bit of contact between these two championship rivals in the Xfinity Series, and Cherry is sliding on the bottom. He'll slide up the racetrack, almost wrecks it, he'll save it, but it'll be split 3 wide on the outside lane and loses maybe 3 or 4 spots. And he falls back through the field. He had a huge moment there. As now to the inside, look at Ashton Miller. Look at a car on the wall. That is, who is that? That was Cherry, I believe. Just had a huge issue. And I think he's gone. My goodness, this race is having so many issues. So many cars already being taken out. the wall a little bit. There goes Knox Thompson. There's the 09 of John Butler as well. Cameron Chandler currently runs in there in 4th place. And still leading is that 48 car of Dylan Banks as they head down the front stretch again at Texas. 10 to go to the halfway break. Yeah, Cherry is done. He's out of the race. Wow. You know what? Leaves 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cars out of this one tonight. That is unfortunate. It's been a race of attrition so far as now Miller, of course, he passes Cameron Chandler for 4th place. Still wouldn't be enough. Cameron would still be able to lock himself in, but Ashton Miller looking for every single last stage point. Cameron, though, fighting his way back to the inside. And there is Bryce Benton trying to make his way to the inside of John Butler. What a battle for 7th place they got, 6th place they got going on. Side by side once again, and now the 09 of John Butler barely going to try to clear. Oh, he's going to give the bumper. Up the racetrack goes Butler. Man, Benton is all over his back bumper, gave him a little bit of a shot, and he moved up the track. Butler falls back into 7th place. How about Knox Thompson having a fantastic run in 8th, taking advantage of this small field and all the attrition tonight we've had to go along with it. Very odd race, especially for Cup Series standards. Connor Havrilla off the pace here a little bit. And he's starting to get caught by these leaders. Dylan Banks is a 5/10 lead over Alexander Ortega. Currently runs in 2nd place. Banks has been dominant. Wants to maybe, I know he's still trying to lock himself into the Final 4, but Dylan obviously wants to try to put one of these races together and maybe grab his 2nd win of the season. Of course, he won here last season, but we'll have to wait and see. Havrilla probably going to get out of the way here of your leaders. He is off the pace. McMillan actually back on the racetrack in that 70 car, so take that back, take away one of the DNFs so far. We currently now have 4. Battle back here, looking Cameron Chandler actually being caught by Bryce Benton, his teammate. I mean, Benton knows Cameron needs these points, so we'll see how much he races in. Up the racetrack goes the 9 as they head down the back stretch again. These two definitely have history, even as teammates. Remember back to Watkins Glen. Cameron was fuming with Bryce Benton after that one. That ended up being a suspension for Bryce Benton after all the chaos he caused at Watkins Glen this season. That definitely didn't help his chances, and probably is maybe one of the factors he got eliminated in the 1st round this season. And he's on the bumper, and he's going to move to the inside of the 8 of Chandler. Side by side down the back stretch they go, back into 3 and 4. On the bottom, they squeeze each other tight, and they head side by side down the front straightaway. I'm surprised Bryce is racing the 8 cars so aggressively, but sometimes you don't really care about the playoff drivers, even if they're your teammates. You just want to go out and try to win the race for yourself. 3 to go on the stage. Oh, and the wall goes Matthew White. That was a bit of a shot for the 7 car. Now he's got Ashton Miller on his bumper. White's teammate, Braden Hunsaker, is that ready out of this race. He's getting a little bit tight. He won the pole. Hasn't let a lap so far tonight, though, but now he's got the 79 of Miller to his inside. What a run by Ashton Miller. He'll move up to 3rd place. And here's Benton again to the low side of his teammate, Cameron Chandler. Oh, he's loose on the bottom. My goodness. Playoff drivers involved, and then you got Bryce Benton, non-playoff driver, who's come to 1 to go in the stage here at Texas Motor Speedway. Dylan Banks looking to win this stage, put him in such a good position to try to advance to the championship for as this race will continue. At Gets down to the backstretch one more time in the stage. Ortega a little bit loose back there. Running in third now. Look at the inside maybe. There is the aid of Chandler on Matthew White. As they head side by side back into 3 and 4. To the green white checkered flag is going to be Dylan Banks. How about this side by side battle as they head down the front straightaway? It's going to be Chandler over White. For 4th and 5th, Benton is going to be 6th. Butler 7th, Thompson 8th, Reagan 9th, Ramon 10th. And Austin is going to come out. In Texas, Dylan Banks, your winner of the stage, gets 10 stage points. This is exactly what he needed to do tonight. But Miller got 8 stage points, so he's only going to be now plus 12 over Ashton Miller. It's still a little bit of a better gap. Obviously, not too good for John Butler's stakes, and both Hilkwich or Wilkin out of this race, their hopes are done for the championship before. So it's most likely, realistically now, just between Dylan Banks and Ashton Miller. And officially finishing 4th in the stage, Cameron Chandler has locked himself in to the Championship 4 here in the NASCAR iRacing FedEx Cup Series. He will be going for his first ever NASCAR iRacing FedEx Cup Series Championship. An Xfinity Series champion prior are going to be trying to be the first ever driver going for an Xfinity and a Cup Series championship in their career. No one has ever done that. He is locked into the Final 4. Your third driver to do that will join Matthew White and Braden Hunsaker in the Championship 4 next week at Homestead Miami Speedway. And now it's just between Dylan Banks and Ashton Miller. Of course, Chandler now plus 28 over Miller. He can't lose that much now with the race. There's only now 20 points available, so he's locked in. Even though Miller finished ahead of him in the stage. As here to come the pit road. Your leaders on the pits. Halfway break pit stops. Probably second pit stop of the night. Midway probably pit stop now. Probably going to see another scheduled one after this. Here come your leaders to pit road. Got to be really good. Dylan, of course, took 2 tires before, so definitely can make things interesting here. I don't know why iRacing's changing the camera angle on me for no reason. Here we go. 4 fresh Goodyear tires for leader Dylan Banks. He's going to try to roll up pit road first, but a good stop for Ortega. And how about Ortega going to roll up pit road first? Second, going to be the 48 of Banks. Third, Ashton Miller. Fourth, the 7 of White. And fifth, going to be Cameron Chandler. Wow, Alexander Ortega wins the race off pit road. What a stop by him. He's your leader now. That's definitely not what Dylan Banks wants to see, but he has been faster than Ortega in this race so far. But dirty air is definitely a factor. We'll see how much aggression Dylan's able to put up. I mean, you can't be too aggressive now. You got a good gap. Plus 12 over Miller, who currently runs behind you. Can't give Ashton an opportunity. Of course, drivers locked into the Final 4, which they're going to be going for a Cup Series championship next week at Homestead Miami Speedway. Of course, Matthew White, Braden Hunsaker, and now Cameron Chandler. Here we go to the shoes. Inside goes Dylan Banks behind Ortega. That's surprising. That'll get the front row to the 79 of Ashton Miller. I mean, actually, that's maybe not so surprising. Inside was very good on that other restart, but in the initial start of this race, the inside was not too good, and the outside got a great jump. So we'll have to see what happens here now. Over halfway in Texas, here we go. Ready to officially start up the second half under green. Of course, Cameron Chandler can now relax. He can try to win this race. He's got his tickets booked to Homestead Miami next week, obviously as a Championship 4 contender. Just one spot up for grabs now in that Final 4. And Dylan Banks holds on to advance for the second straight season, looking for a back-to-back Cup Series titles. And so consistent this year. Only has 1 win, though. But it's so good this season. Ortega on the bottom. Ashton Miller there on that outside lane. As Side by side between Dylan Banks and the 8 car of Cameron Chandler. As here we go. Ready for the restart in Texas. Pace car is in. Second half underway at Texas Motor Speedway. We go back to green from the Lone Star Stadium. Of course, a great restart for the inside lane. Ashton Miller does not get going with Cameron Chandler there as well. Miller just going to try to keep it ahead of Matthew White as they make their way through 1 and 2. Miller, though, in the 79 on the outside of Dylan Banks. He is coming with a run as they head down the back straightaway. Look at Ashton Miller for second place. These two battling for that final spot in the championship 4. Miller loose on the outside, tries to hold it wide open, can't do it. He slots back into third place, Banks it back into second, as he's going to try to challenge your leader, Alexander Ortega, down the front stretch in the 1 and 2 again. Miller on the bumper, that 48 once again. The first time Banks has really been in dirty air. Lost lead on pit road. Ortega now leads down the back stretch as they go. He's actually, Ortega looking to sweep the week here in Texas after winning the Xfinity race last night. Pulling about 3/10 on Dylan Banks, heading down the front stretch again. Miller has been all over the back bumper of that 48 car. He's been hot on his tail. He is doing everything he can to try to pass Dylan Banks. Matthew White tucked up back there. Same thing with Bryce Benson. Seven, look at the back bumper of that 79. Of course, that connection issue that Brandon Whitsicker had, lost a packet drop issue. He is still not connected to the session, obviously much more major. Hopefully he's got things sorted out for next week's finale at Homestead. Oh, Miller's lows up the racetrack. He's got Matthew White all over his back bumper as Ortega continues to pull away. Dylan Banks not having the speed we saw in the first half so far. Maybe just saving his stuff, you never know. I mean, he could be saving his stuff to try to pull another 2-tire stop and get another green flag pit stop in this race like he did earlier. And now look at Ashton Miller. He's starting to get up the racetrack. He's going to have a run down this backstretch. Oh, he's nearly in the wall a little bit. He's hot on the tail, that 48 of Dylan Banks. One more shot for Ashton to try to make the Final 4. This is the closest he's ever been in his career to doing it. They head back into 1-2. He gets that run a little bit around the outside. Oh, is Matthew White a little bit loose? He's got Bryce Benson all over his back bumper. Heading back through turns 3 and 4. Bryce Benson be able to do the back bumper of that 7 car. He's been kind of quiet tonight. Got trapped a lap down at one point, remember? But now has, of course, made his way back to the lead lap, and he's up here battling inside of the top 5. Cameron Chandler, of course, just locked himself into the Final 4. How about he runs 6? And how about William Reagan up to P7? Wow, rotor run by this 36, keeping it up here almost with the top 5 drivers. Ortega now continues to lead. Took the lead, of course, on pit road. And he leads it right now in Texas, looking to sweep this week from Texas Motor Speedway. That would be absolutely huge momentum as he looks to race for an Xfinity Series title next week. And here is the 9 of Benton to the inside of the 7 of White, back into 3 and 4. Benton going to try to slide it back down low. He's also trying to keep his team's championship hopes alive. With Team Chevy Motor Club, would need Matthew White definitely to fall back a lot more, and he needs to run even better to keep that alive as they head back into 1 and 2. Side by side between the 9 and the 7, they're going to run each other up the racetrack. High goes Matthew White as they head door to door down this backstretch. Back into 3 and 4 again. White can take a lot of risk here. So can Benton. They got nothing to lose. I mean, totally different inspections. Benton not in the playoffs anymore. White locked into the Final 4. But still, neither of them have anything to lose. As White going to re-clear Benton. How about William Reagan now trying to close the back number of Cameron Chandler? Dylan Banks trying to run down your leader, Alexander Ortega. Running in third, Ashton Miller. Of course, well over halfway. Still got a pit stop to come. I think that would come maybe the next 20 or so laps, which would be your final stop of the night. Take you to the checkered flag in this race. We're talking about William Reagan. What a run he's having there in 7th. I mean, I would say he's taking advantage of all the chaos that we've had in this race, the attrition and whatnot, and the smaller car count than usual. But no, he's just straight up fast. He's keeping up with these leaders, doing a really good job up front in 7th. And how about Knox Thompson? Same thing there. What a run he's having in 8th. Got John Butler running in 9th, playoff driver. I mean, still would need to do a ton more. Would need the driver to fall out. He's doing a good job, though. Doing what he can. And how about Zane Armand running in 10th place? Cole Clausen currently runs there in P11. Zane Armand looking for 2 top 10s this week. He finished 10th in the Xfinity race last night. He seems really, really good here at Texas. Usually a driver you don't see running up front at all. Oh, we got a car on the wall. I was just talking about him. William Reagan slams the wall in the 36th. And he now has damage, and he's on the apron. Wow, that's unfortunate. Poor William. Bringing it to pit road here. Obviously just lost the balance of that race car, slammed into the wall. Hopefully he's able to repair it and keep going here. Dylan Banks trying to rerun down that 28 of Ortega. We know he's quick, especially on the long run. Ortega running a bit of a different line through 3 and 4. We know Ortega is so aggressive to try to hold the lead, so we'll see what happens here. Sun setting as well. Track conditions will continue to change here in Texas. Battle now between Ashton Miller and Matthew White for 3rd place. Miller maybe losing some long run pace here. We'll see what happens with the 79 cars. They head back into 1 and 2. Wasn't too long ago when Bryce Benson was battling with Matthew White for 4th. Now he's back there a little bit further back. Steve and Cameron Chandler in P6 currently. Dylan Banks about 3/10 back on the 28 of Ortega. Definitely ever so slightly faster, but with dirty air and how close these cars are. Oh, in the wall a little bit goes the 28 of Ortega. That's a bit of a moment. Also got to think about as this run goes on, when will we see some of your leaders bring these cars to pit road? Still a ways to go in this race. Miller is starting to lose the back end of his race car. He got Matthew White in the 7, all over his back bumper. So they head back into 1 and 2. Miller, though, you got to give credit to him. What a run he's having. Still, though, would not be enough, of course, to advance, with Dylan Banks just having a slightly better day. As they come to lap 90 in Texas, the Xfinity Series race distance. 45 laps remain from the Lone Star State. 45 laps to go to decide your championship for next week's finale in Homestead. Oh, Banks a little bit of a moment there in the 48. He got ever so slightly sideways. Reagan is back on the racetrack, I believe. There's Juan Cubs Jr. There's William Reagan after slamming the wall. He's currently 1 lap down. Or he is only 1 lap down after that. Dylan Banks a little bit up the racetrack here in that 48, back into 1 and 2. Matthew White still all over the back bumper of Ashton Miller for 3rd place, trying to find a way around. Matthew White, he's got good history at Homestead Miami Speedway as we, of course, head there next week for the season finale, the championship race. Of course, Matthew White in the championship 4. He won at Homestead Miami Speedway last season. We know how good Cameron Chandler is at ripping the boards. That's definitely the track you're going to do that the most at Homestead next week. Can Cameron Chandler maybe claim his first ever Cup Series title next week from Homestead Miami, and of course become the only ever driver in NASCAR iRacing FedEx League history to win a Cup and an Xfinity Series championship. He would definitely be the driver to do it. Such a versatile driver, so good at so many different types of tracks, cars. Cameron Chandler. Banks actually falling back now 0.6 of a second on Ortega. That pit stop definitely changed the whole course of this race because how hard it is to pass tonight. Ortega barely beating Dylan Banks off pit road. Basically flips the strategy upside down for the driver of the 48. So he continues to lose time. Down the backstretch they go. And when will we see your leaders bring these things to pit road? That's the question. Light up the racetrack a little bit, got a little bit loose. Had to correct the race car and loses some time to Miller down the front stretch again. Riding along now with Bryce Benson. He's trying to catch up to that 7 car, Matthew White. They head down the backstretch battle for 4th place. Benson almost looking to the inside to his quarter panel. He is there. Side by side they go. Bryce Benson is definitely hungry for a race win. Could tonight be the day? He's still got a lot of work to do ahead of him, though. As he goes for this battle for 4th. Oh, he's going to slide the 7 way up the racetrack. Matthew White almost has to lift, and he is not happy at all with Bryce Benton. He's going to push him all the way down low, letting him know he is not pleased. But Benton's still going to take the spot away, but White's going to be back to his bumper. Can't really do anything, it looks like, and Benton takes 4th place away. That got interesting, man. Matthew was not happy with the 9 car Bryce Benton. And he let him know down the backstretch. Matthew White falls back to 5th, Benson up to 4th. Ortega, though, continues to lead, 7/10 over Dylan Banks. Ashton Miller running in 3rd place. And now Matthew White's pitting, your first one to bring to pit road. He was one of the first to pit before. Tried the undercut. Will it work this time even better? This is probably now force everyone to stay in the pit road, I would have to assume. Basically got a pit now with Matthew White in the pits. He's going to make sure he doesn't speed at it. Had that big speeding penalty that took him out of the contention for the win last week in Dover. Ortega stays out, shockingly. Everyone looking like all your leaders staying out so far. I'm honestly shocked because of that. Matthew White gets his service and now rolls off pit road. His final stop of the day is done. And we got a car slow. That's Juan Cobbs Jr. bringing it to pit road. Gets out of the way. When will these guys pit? Still looks like Ortega keeping it out. And Banks is pitting here in the 48. Will he take 4 tires? That's the question. Bringing it all the way to pit road, getting every last second he can out of that thing. Maybe taking 2. He did take 2 in the last green flag pit stop. There's Matthew White to unlap himself. Banks has got the pit stop here coming up. 35 laps to go in Texas. Let's swatch here to see if he takes 4 tires or 2. Will he pull that strategy once again? Gains you a few seconds. Oh, can't slide through your pit stall. Doesn't do that. Barely avoided that. Pushing it to the absolute limit. So far, I don't know why iRacing did it again. Is it going to be 2? Yes, it is 2! Off pit roads goes the 48 of Dylan Banks. We called it. 2 tires for the 48. Where's Matthew White? There he is in the 7. Racing his way down the front stretch back into 1 and 2. 48 of Dylan Banks now rolling on the apron. Ortega, I believe, has pitted. He can't roll up the racetrack. There he comes. There comes White with a run down the back straightaway. Does he have enough momentum? I don't know if he does. Heading back into 3 and 4. No, he does not. 2 tires. Dylan Banks going to take the lead. And now on pit road, it's Alexander Ortega rolling off. He's going to definitely get undercutted by these 2. Again, another 2-tire stop for the 48. Lap car in the way there, that 09 of John Butler. Now there's Ortega on the bottom, but he'll have fresher tires. John Butler sitting in the way of Dylan Banks as they head down the back straightaway. Butler, or I should say, Ortega slots back in there as the lights come on here at Texas. Banks going to retake this lead, but Ortega going to be fast behind these 2. Now, looking back on pit road real quick, Ashton Miller continues to stay out. So does Bryce Benson. So does Cameron Chandler. Matthew White trying to run down that 48 of Dylan Banks, but he's got Ortega coming in his bumper. Doesn't really matter for Matthew White, but it does matter, of course, for Dylan Banks. He wants to try to win his race to officially solidify himself into the championship 4. And Ortega on the bumper, definitely probably going to be faster than both these guys. And he's going to look to the inside of the 7 of Matthew White as they head through 1 and 2. Look at Ortega on the bottom, squeezes Matthew White up the racetrack. White's going to slide, almost has to lose the race car. Side by side down the back stretch they go. Matthew White probably not going to be too happy about that one. Will he let Ortega know? Doesn't look like he will yet. Now Alexander Ortega trying to run down Dylan Banks. And that's the same sort of thing that happened before. Ortega passing Matthew White after the pit stop, just like the first half. All right, Perro now still staying out are these 3. Then you got Dylan Banks still staying out, but here comes Ortega on the bumper of the 48 as they head down the back stretch again. Battle what would be for the lead. Of course, Banks on 2 tires, Ortega on 4. Second in a row, 2-tire call for the driver of the 48, but this time not as big as an advantage. He's got the 28 of Ortega all over his back bumper. He's going to slide at the racetrack, and we'll have a run coming down this back straightaway. Banks going to block down low. Ortega, though, looking to the inside to the bumper of the 48. Banks still has to be careful. Cannot wreck this race car, especially with Ashton Miller still having a good day. Currently leading this race as well, still yet to pit. Still waiting for Miller, Benton, and Chandler to come to pit road here. Oh, that's up the racetrack for Ortega again. Could have a run coming down this back stretch. Where is he going to take it? Back into 3 and 4. That's not the biggest passing opportunity usually, but we have seen some good racing through there tonight. Banks just needs to keep it calm and cool, collected to try to run away from this 28. But he's all over his back bumper, keeping it painted there as they head back into 1 and 2. He's on his bumper. He might even move him a little bit. Oh, he will move him. My goodness, what is he doing? And Banks has a connection issue that a little bit. That is completely unacceptable by Alexander Ortega. To be honest, I don't know what we're doing here, running a playoff driver up the racetrack like that. Pretty pathetic, if you ask me. Banks now falls to 30. He's going to try to battle with Matthew White again. Man, Ortega just ran through. I mean, what is he doing? Still got, I mean, if this is the final lap, I would get it. We got over 20 laps to go still. 25, 26 laps to go. I don't get that. I really don't. Banks will now fall to 3rd place, which would be right now. And there is Bryce Benton. Continues to stay out. Ashton Miller, though, continues to lead this race with 25 laps to go. And pitting. There we go. Here comes Chandler and Benson to pit road. Final green flag pit stop of the night. We've only had one incident caution tonight. You never know, we could get another one. We'll have to wait and see. Here they come to pit road. Now the only one staying out so far is Ashton Miller. His TCMC cars come to pit for the final time tonight. There is Miller, still holding the lead, but does not have enough fuel, obviously, to make it to the end. Banks still in the bumper of Matthew White, heading down the front stretch and back into 1 and 2. That's 7 of Matthew White up the racetrack a little bit. Here comes Dylan Banks. Oh, Matthew's gonna put a big block on the 48 car. These two also have history, not as bad as Ortega and White. And look at the 48 of Banks, two at the outside of the 7. Just trying to wrap it there to take second place away. They go side by side down the front stretch, which would be for P2. Once Miller pits. White, though, not giving up. He's fighting back to the inside. Banks trying to wrap that high line. And he'll clear Matthew White. There's Miller, continues to stay out. Actually has everybody a lap down right now. How much he continues to stay out here in this race. Still, though, would not be able to advance, I don't believe. Banks is running third. Miller would win the race right now if he somehow made it on fuel. I don't really think that's physically possible. Still got 21 laps to go. Here's somebody saving. Like William Reagan for whatever reason. Banks, though, trying to run down Ortega. I don't believe Ashton Miller is saving. He's just trying to pull a last-second Hail Mary strategy call to try to maybe get a caution. And remember, Ortega, Banks, White, they still technically have 21 laps to go. Miller has 20 to go, but he still has to pit. They head back into 3 and 4. He's on front of these leaders now. He's actually holding up Ortega a little bit. Could that be really good now for Dylan Banks? I mean, I don't think Ashton would want to do that, but there is the 28 of Ortega back to the inside of the 79 of Miller through 1 and 2. And a caution is out! Oh my goodness! Knox Thompson goes around, the yellow comes out, and that is exactly what Ashton Miller hoped for. Wow! Talk about lucky breaks. Holy. Knox Thompson goes around. What happened? Let's see. So racing there with John Butler, who just slides up the racetrack. Butler just, unfortunately, misjudges it, and they both crash down the back straightaway here. In front of the field, obviously bringing out the caution. And into the wall hard goes Zane Rahman as well. That's right along with John Butler through this accident. Caution comes out. Second incident caution of the day. Man, does that change things. Riding with Butler. Oh, yeah. Misjudged and ran through him. John Butler's playoff hopes most likely ending tonight, not in the best way. Now what's going to happen, because Miller has everybody trapped a lap down right now. So they all got to take the wave around. And Miller can just, I think how it works is you can just get a free pit stop here. Everyone else has to stay out. That's unbelievable. Wow. Can you believe it? I mean, they were so close to unlapping themselves as well to avoid all this. Miller might have the freshest tires. Oh my goodness. Have things changed in Texas? Miller's going to get a free pit stop here. I think it works out that, yes, he's still going to hold the lead, but he's going to be on fresher tires than everybody else. Not extremely fresher tires, but fresher tires anyways. And these drivers are all going to have to take the wave arounds, obviously, to get themselves back on the lead lap. Miller was the only one on the lead lap. Now they go going to pass the pace car. Wow, I can't believe it. I really can't believe it. What has happened in Texas? I don't know where Ortega's going. Nobody else is driving away from the pace car. Oh, Ortega had the free pass. Yeah, that's fine. So then these guys all gonna probably take the wave around as well. So I definitely be a timing and scoring nightmare. Now Ortega actually gonna come to pit road here. Oh, he's gonna slide in there a little bit harder. How will this work out now with 28 pitting? Miller, there he comes off pit road. Still got a lot of timing and scoring. We really, definitely an interesting issue to figure out. I believe we're coming to the choose, which I don't really know how that's going to work out. We got one car that could choose here. So we may have to extend it a little bit and then do a second choose once everybody's caught back up. All right. So, I believe we're coming to 1 to go. But I don't believe it's going to be the shoes because we got to sort some things out. Yes, there they go. We're coming to 1 to go. We're going to extend this to 2. So next time by will be the shoes. Everyone goes to unlap themselves here at Texas. There was Ortega. He did get fresh tires because he, of course, got the wave around. This is not a free win yet for the 79 and Miller. So he's still got to hold off fresher tires with Ortega. All right, though, but man, everything changes with this. Caution out. Now 16 laps to go. Apparently back to 1 to green. All right. I don't really agree with this call. Gonna all catch back up and then there's gonna lap cars in the way. All right. Also, so we're gonna restart here. Do it the lap cars in the way. Everyone has to go tail into the longest line as well. Of course, there will be no choose with the drivers that cut the wave around. So we're coming to the... This is the weirdest restart I think I've ever seen in my life. Oh my goodness. It's basically a single file restart because of all the stuff that was going on. And here we go, coming back to green, 15 to go in Texas. It might be just a battle between Alexander Ortega and Ashton Miller for the win. Back to green in Texas. Ortega all over the back bumper. He's going to pull on the outside through 1 and 2. These two, of course, on fresher tires. They head down this backstretch again. Reagan's still in the way. Look at the inside. There's Matthew White. Oh, he's going to get almost blocked by the 48 of Banks. They're trying to make their way around the 36 of Reagan, who's way up the racetrack as well, as they head down the front straightaway. Ortega, though, now pressuring that 79 of Ashton Miller. Miller, I mean, somehow looking for his first ever win. I don't know how he still doesn't have a win in the Cup Series. It's been so many close calls for him for winning these races. He's going to have a shot tonight, but will it be enough to advance to the championship 4? Right now it's saying no. Because obviously, like we said, winning the race does not lock yourself in. He would need Dylan Banks to fall back and snap Matthew White at the racetrack here in the 7. White back into his 6th place now. There is Banks currently running in 3rd, and these two, of course, on fresher tires, the only 2 on fresher tires. We've never really had this kind of situation. Only one car being on the lead lap with this, and what a send back to the inside. iRacing's got the worst camera angles ever. Couldn't really see it there as they head back into 1 and 2 with 12 to go. That was definitely a time losser for Ortega. Ashton Miller, though, still would need Dylan Banks to fall back. If he wants to advance to the championship 4, it would definitely be an awkward moment if he won this race while not advancing. 11 to go in Texas. Banks still runs there in 3rd. How about Bryce Benson in 4th place? 5th place is Cameron Chandler, and back to 6th, Matthew White. Banks, of course, still on older tires than these top two. And now, Miller continues to pull away from Ortega. 10 to go in Texas. Of course, this would be huge if Dylan Banks didn't get any stage points, but Banks gained 2 points over Ashton Miller in the stage. Miller would currently score 20 points. Dylan would currently score 15, and it would not be enough. It would be about a 7-6 point gap after, after this. So it would still not be enough. You would need Dylan to fall back, but he's got Bryce Benson all over his back bumper. I mean, one little slip up here, Dylan Banks goes on the wall, has to come to pit road. He is, might be out of the race even with something like that. But I don't think Dylan would maybe push it that hard. He knows he's got this spot sealed up maybe. If you'd be able to win your race, win yourself into the championship, or this would be a whole different situation. I mean, 8 to go now. It's getting to reality where this could be an awkward moment where Ashton Miller's first career win could come in a time where he gets eliminated from the playoffs. We've never had that sort of thing. And it would be a really nice and celebrated win. Finally, Ashton Miller would go to victory lane. Now to the inside. Look at Bryce Benson. Can't say it yet. Dylan Banks still has to hold on to these positions. And he's got Benson to his inside for third place, side by side down the front straightaway, and his teammate Cameron Chandler back there as well. 7 to go in Texas. Can Banks holds on? He just can't lose. Maybe he's got to not fall back to like 7th, 8th place. If he finishes maybe 5th here, if Cameron passes him, oh, what a block down to the inside for Benson, and they're almost 3 wide again through 3 and 4. Banks is under attack from Chandler now. He's going to slide up the racetrack here in the 48 as they head down the front stretch. And he's got the 8 car of Chandler coming to his outside. Banks might fall back to 5th here. That would be 13 points. Ashton Miller would score 20. Remember, it was plus 12 after the stage. Still would be enough. Dylan still has to fall back. Ashton Miller, there's literally no more work he can do. 5 to go. He's leading the race, looking for his first ever win, but still has to rely on Dylan Banks falling back even more positions. Dylan just trying to hang on, and he will advance to the championship 4. Four laps to go for Ashton Miller. This might be an extremely bittersweet moment. He's in the wall a little bit down the front straightaway. This could, if Dylan Banks has an issue or something, falls out of this race in the closing 4 laps, could be a career moment for Ashton Miller, or it could be the most bittersweet moment of his life. With Banks advancing and him not, while him winning the race as well. Coming to 3 to go this time by. Intensity is up. Can Dylan Banks hold on? He's got Matthew White now in his bumper. Battle for 5th place goes on, and still, Dylan Banks would advance. Would be enough. Just barely over Ashton Miller, who's leading the race right now. Matthew White slides. They're in the 7. Under 3 laps to go in Texas to decide the championship 4. This one is on. 2 to go for Ashton Miller. Still, though, would not advance to the Final 4, but would win this race. What a bittersweet moment that would be. Matthew White under attack from Cole Clausen. Currently, he's 1 lap down. Banks just trying to hold on to finish where he is. Here we go, coming to the white flag. 1 lap to go for Ashton Miller, looking for a career win, number 1 in Texas. But still, Dylan Banks holds on to 5th place, which would be enough to advance over Miller. Of course, you cannot win yourself into the Final 4, but Miller heads down the backstretch for the final time in Texas. This moment has been coming for so many races. Third full-time season of the Cup Series. We'll exit turn number 4 to finally see the checkered flag first. Ashton Miller's gonna win in Texas. But Banks gonna finish in 5th and advance to the Final 4. And it's not enough for Miller. 2, so close, but not enough. He wins the race, but will not advance to the Final 4. And Dylan Banks will race for a championship at Homestead, Miami next week. It's definitely a little bit more chaotic than he wanted, but it'll still happen. And Ashton Miller, first career win in Texas. But will not advance to the Final 4. Did everything he can, obviously. Literally did the max he could. Winning the race, getting congratulated big time. He is so respected in the garage. This is a long time coming for Ashton Miller. Finally, a NASCAR iRacing FedEx Cup Series winner, but unfortunately, probably the worst moment it could happen, not advancing to the Final 4. You wait all your career in the Cup Series for this moment. Oh, he's getting turned by Matthew White. You wait your entire career for this moment, and unfortunately, it might be bittersweet for Ashton Miller. Still probably going to enjoy this win, though. Your race winner in Texas is going to make sure, real quick, obviously, calculations we were doing in the race were unofficial. Going to make sure with all the 0x bonuses, everybody gets that accounted for. The end of the race, going to make sure Dylan Banks is in. That'll take about maybe 3 or so minutes after this burnout celebration. With Ashton Miller, still though, can't take this one away from him. Your winner in Texas, first career win, he'll do it from the Texas Motor Speedway. I believe our 11th different Cup Series winner this season. And it's Ashton Miller going to victory lane for the first time in his career. That is now 3 Showtime Motorsports cars going to victory lane this season. Ashton Miller comes to 3rd. Joined his teammate, of course, Connor Asbolin, and team owner Aiden Donahue. All 1 win apiece this year. Ashton Miller wins in Texas, but this one might be bittersweet. And he continues to burn that thing down. Your first career win for the driver of the 79. He's going to celebrate this one to the fullest extent, even if he doesn't advance. But, I mean, you got to think, it's been such a long time coming. It's been full-time in the Cup Series since Season 2. Remember, the first 2 years he was with ETR in Toyota, made the playoffs 2 seasons in a row, but never won a race, got eliminated in the first round of the playoffs both seasons. This year, a whole lot better. Made the round of 8. Won his first race tonight for the penultimate race of the year. But still not enough, though, most likely to advance. Still, though, your race winner at Texas Motor Speedway. All right, real quick, we'll be back in a few moments. Going to make sure officially that Dylan Banks advances to the Final 4. Of course, still have to put 0x into account. Going to make sure all the race results are correct and counted. And, yeah, this is definitely a close one. Banks, though, should be able to advance. Give us a few moments. From Texas Motor Speedway, as Ashton Miller goes to victory lane. All right. So, oh, Miller actually ended up having an incident point. A lot of other drivers had 0x. Give us a second. All right. SimRacer Hub is taking its sweet time, so thank you. Appreciate that. Banks ended up scoring 4 less points than Ashton Miller. Yeah, that's enough to advance, unfortunately, for Miller. I mean, definitely a very, very bittersweet moment. Ashton would definitely be hoping that this definitely is wondering a couple of seasons ago when this actually was winner in for the round, actually last season, what this could have been. Real quick, gonna official it, if that makes any sense. And yeah, officially, it'll be -6 for Ashton Miller. So close, winning the race, but so far from a championship. But what an effort, though. Man, he sure tried for this one. Just wasn't meant to be. But he still is a NASCAR iRacing FedEx Cup Series winner. Got to be so happy about that one. That is absolutely huge for his career. All right, we got post-race interviews coming up. Might be an awkward one with Ashton Miller, but he is your winner. Ashton
Right.
Miller, finally, you have done it. You are a NASCAR iRacing FedEx Cup Series winner. We're just going to talk about this first of all to not ruin the mood, but how good is it to field? And how about that strategy? Of course, staying out, and it works out. You trap everyone a lap down. Only Ortega can pit. You hold him off to the end. How did you do it at Texas to finally win your first ever Cup race?
I mean, I don't know, man. I just got really lucky with that caution, man. And holy hell, I didn't think we were gonna get it done. I don't think we advanced to the Champ 4, but I could care less right now. We finally got a win. It took 2 seasons to get it done, but holy hell, this feels so great. Finally be in victory lane. And my God, dude, I don't know how that strategy worked. I just got really fortunate with getting past getting that caution. What I did, I was almost out of fuel. So yeah, what a hell of a race for me and for the Showtime guys, man.
Ashton, of course, such a huge moment in your career. First ever win. This has been such a long time coming. You've been full time in the Cup Series since season 2. This is definitely your best statistical year as well. I mean, just take me through what was going through your mind there on that strategy. Like, it was just basically a Hail Mary at that point. You had such
I
a good
mean,
run all night, and just, it works out.
yeah, honestly, in the back of my mind, I was thinking, "There's no way this is gonna work. There's no way something unfortunate is gonna happen." And I kid you not, literally the lap before I was supposed to run out of fuel, the caution comes on. I don't even know what happened, but it just holy crap, dude. I'm speechless, man. I didn't think we were gonna get it done. I thought, we were gonna find a way to mess it up because I feel like that's just been the strat of our entire season so far. But yeah, man, what a what the what the hell, man? What that was just wild stuff happening.
So unfortunately, Ashton, I hate to kind of kill the mood. You said you didn't care right now, but you will not be racing for a championship next week. It was a -6 to Dylan Banks, so close, but I mean, just still amazing job. We head to Homestead, Miami next week, another mile and a half. Like, how much momentum is this win gonna give you guys overall?
I mean, for me personally, after trying to chase a win for forever, this is gonna give us a lot of momentum. Unfortunately, you said we weren't gonna race for the champ for, but honestly, I could give two fricks right now, honestly, after that. That was like just one of the best drives we've had, and yeah, I could care less if we advance. I just wanted to get win. I just wanted to prove to my team that, you know, Miller is here to stay and it's here to get a win. Unfortunately, we didn't make advance it, but I could care less right now. It was one hell of a drive for us.
All right, Ashton, huge congratulations. Finally, I know you're a driver at my team. It's really good to see you, and I'm very happy for you after now leaving my team and going to Showtime. So happy for all your success. Of course, unfortunate you don't advance to the Final Four, but we'll see you next week at Homestead, Miami for the finale. Good job on this one. Of course, have fun celebrating.
Thank you.
That was your winner, Ashton Miller. Finally get to say that. I feel like it's been such a long time coming. And of course, your official championship for Matthew White, Braden Hunsticker. They're both locked in after the first 2 races of the rounds. Cameron Chandler locked himself in after the stage, of course, and Dylan Banks will also advance the Final Four. And it's absolutely stacked grid heading to Miami next week for the championship. And coming up next, how about third place finisher Bryce Benson? Actually, let's first do Dylan Banks advancing. Dylan Banks, I know this isn't the finish you guys wanted at all. 5th place after dominating the first stage, but definitely a great points day. I mean, it got a little scary there. Of course, Ashton Miller winning the race. You're very lucky this isn't a win in your win format for the playoffs. So you will advance to the championship for no matter what. +6 over Miller after this one. Big congrats on that. But just give me your thoughts there those last few laps. Even though still advancing, just falling back to 5th.
Yeah, man. Very, very happy for Ashton Miller for sure. Good guy, good kid, good racer. And he's never gave up through all these seasons and being FedEx, being winless and finally got one tonight. He never gave up, and even though he didn't make the Champ Four, very, very proud of him. He showed a lot of heart tonight, and um, very happy for him to get the win for sure, man. Um, but definitely happy we advanced.
Yeah, but Homestead, Miami next week is an absolutely stacked championship four with Matthew White, Braden Hunsicker, Cameron Chandler, and yourself. I mean, like, there's just like the Xfinity Series, there is really no clear favorite. You guys have been so good all season long, especially on these mile and a halves. It's one week one of you guys is the best, and another week another one of you guys. What do you think your chances are at Miami?
I think it's just like I treat it as any other race. Just go in and win the damn thing. That's the goal. At the end of the day, every race. So it doesn't change just because it's a championship race. Um, but yeah, definitely gonna go in there and try to get a championship and bring it home for ETR for sure. But I'm glad it's not a win in your end for sure. Tonight. Because I about got wrecked by non-playoff driver that races in Xfinity, that races part-time in Cup, and race like a complete ass tonight. So I don't appreciate that at all, and I let him know over the radio. I wish he'd come in and talk to me in the interview waiting room. But I'm pretty livid right now, bro. To be honest with you, about got my race wrecked. From a non-playoff guy that's not even in the playoffs. And races a whole different series. So definitely a little pissed off right now.
All right, Dylan. Well, of course, still a great job. Still got a top five here, and you will, of course, advance to your second straight championship four. Looking for two championships in a row. Good luck next week in Miami. We'll see you then.
Thank you.
And coming up next, your second place finisher, Alexander Ortega. Alexander Ortega, definitely a weird sort of race there at the end. You guys will still come home second. You led there in the closing laps. You, of course, then got undercutted by Dylan Banks taking two tires under the green flag pit stop. Then you guys got trapped a lap down. You got the free pass. You're able to pit. Such a weird restart. It was only two you guys on fresh tires, and ultimately Miller ended up pulling away. So what more did you need there at the end of the race?
Just the caution to never come out. It's like what I said in the Xfinity race yesterday, just needed that run to go green. We had gotten in the right spot, and I kind of moved Dylan Banks out of the way. He got arrow loose in front of me, and I just kind of drove through him, to be honest. Not intentionally, it's just how the rear area of this car is. And so we got around him. We were running Ashton back down. We were about to pass him too. And then, caution comes out. Luckily, we were in the lucky dog. So we got the lucky dog. We started second still. And then, just couldn't pass with the dirty air. There, I was just giving everything I had, and there's no way. So,
Of course, it was still a great weekend overall. You won the Xfinity race to advance the Xfinity Series Championship 4. Now you finished second here tonight in the Cup Series race. So great momentum heading into Homestead Miami Championship weekend. I talked to you last night about this after your Xfinity win, but what do you think your chances are tomorrow night for that race? So many great other Championship 4 drivers to race with in that one for the finale.
uh, again, I think it'll be pretty good. I don't know. It's tough because this is such a different intermediate track, but I'm just going to go back to what I said last night, wrapping that white line, even tonight, it makes such a big difference for air and everything, and trying to find a line that's not taken. And so it'll be interesting. Hopefully we can get some green flag runs to end that race and have the pace there to get it done.
All right, well, nice job here on the second place finish tonight in the Cup Series, and we'll see you for the Xfinity side, where you're going to be going for your first ever Xfinity Series title on next Wednesday at Miami.
Yep, appreciate it. Thank you.
Alexander Ortega. Coming up next, going to be your third place finisher, Bryce Benton. Bryce Benson, solid day for you guys. You'll finish in third. You guys ran top 5 a lot of this race, so P3 finish. Obviously, a very, very chaotic little last 20 laps there with everyone getting trapped a lap down, you guys not being able to pit. So what was going through your mind for that whole thing, and then ultimately you getting yourself into the best position of drivers that didn't pit?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it was definitely interesting. I I knew we were gonna get the wave around on that last caution because it was a Miller. He was the only car on the lead lap, and I knew he'd come into the pits. So I thought it was fine, but the only kind of annoying thing is that we were single file, so the gap from me to like first was really big. I was trying as hard as I could to try to get there and try to go for the win, but it just wasn't enough. I really did want to get a win tonight, but that's every race, so I mean nothing new. But yeah, I mean it was overall really good recovery drive. I mean after speeding on pit road, that was a good recovery drive. I didn't give up after I sped, and yeah, I mean getting third after that's pretty good. So yeah, I mean third's pretty good, but yeah, I'm just hoping maybe we can make it not a winless season next week in Miami.
Yeah, so speaking about Homestead Miami Speedway next week, of course, you got nothing to lose there. Coming to that championship race, the season finale. I know you got other Championship 4 drivers to race with, so are you going to be maybe thinking about teamwork with Cameron Chandler, maybe, as your teammate? He's in the Final Four, or are you just going to be trying to go for your first career win?
I mean, probably both. I was thinking a lot about Miller and if he could like advance, and yeah, I didn't want to be too aggressive with him. But I obviously still wanted to win. So like if he made a mistake when I was behind him or something, I probably would have went around him, but I wasn't gonna force anything. But yeah, I mean, I'll definitely think about teamwork, but also I really do want to get that win, and I think that's more important to me, honestly. Obviously, I do want TCMC to get the championship, and I hope they do. But I also really want to get that win for myself because I just want to get it because I don't want to have another winless season. I feel like I'm better than not winning this season. A better driver than that, so I kind of just want to prove that next race in Miami. So yeah, we'll see what we can do then.
All right, Bryce, one last job. Third place finish here at Texas Motor Speedway tonight, and we'll see you next week for the finale at Homestead.
Yep.
Coming up next is going to be Cameron Chandler, finished 4th. Cameron Chandler, you guys just needed a decent day tonight. You got that, finished 4th tonight. You, of course, will advance to the Final Four pretty well over the cut line over Ashton Miller, of course, who won this race, but still will not advance to the Championship 4 next week at Homestead Miami Speedway. So overall, it was a quiet day for you guys. You finished 4th, enough, but give me your thoughts on tonight's race.
Yeah, I mean, this car drives like shit. Well, we were pretty shit. So we qualified pretty awfully. We ran pretty awful. And yeah, we had some people like Braden Hunsicker, his engine expired, whatever the hell happened. And Richard Cherry had issues with his vehicle. So we just kind of moved our way through the field. We got a little bit faster through the race. And then the pit strategy. I'm not gonna lie, I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. I don't remember anything. I just know we got decent stage points and we tried our best to get Miller into the Champ 4, and unfortunately it didn't work out.
So, of course, it's the championship race next week at Homestead Miami Speedway. We know how good you are ripping the boards with this race car. So, I mean, do you think that's going to come into account? And what do you think your chances are? So many good drivers, you, Dylan, Matthew, and Braden in that finale.
Hell no, that doesn't come into account. iRacing made Homestead one of the worst tracks on the service. So for whatever reason, you cannot rip the fence. It's not fast, and you can't even save tires up there. So we're gonna all be bottom feeding the entire race. And this car is a piece of shit. So we're not gonna be able to pass in traffic. We're not gonna be able to pass at all. We wouldn't even be able to pass each other for running around the track at 15 miles an hour because of how bad the dirty air is. So whoever qualifies on pole, which is probably gonna be Matthew White, will probably win the race unless we have some unfortunate circumstances happening.
All right, Mr. Positive. Well, we'll see you next week where you'll go for your first ever Cup Series championship at Homestead.
Yeah, make racing great again. Gen 4 supremacy.
Okay. Anyways, coming up next here at Texas Motor Speedway for post-race interviews is going. How about Zane Rahman? Finished 7th. Zane Rahman, you took advantage of everything going on in this race, all the chaos, and you get a career best finish of 7th place here at Texas Motor Speedway. Take me through how you got in this position, ultimately getting a top 10 finish, your best ever Cup Series finish.
Well, Ethan, all I had to do was just like chill in the back. That's what I always do in every race. That's what I aim to do. So yeah, I'm really thankful that I managed to survive this entire carnage. I mean, I'm pretty surprised, but well, not really, since this is Texas we're talking about. So yeah, I'm really glad that I got Elements of Justice a great finish today.
Of course, it's the Miami Championship week next week at Homestead for both Cup and Xfinity, which of course you will race. 2 top 10s, 10th in the Xfinity race tonight, 7th tonight in the Cup race. Is that giving you guys a good outlook next week at Homestead where you can maybe even run better?
Yeah, probably. I mean, well, me and Knox will definitely put in the work. We'll try finishing like how we did today. So yeah.
All right, Zane. Well, nice job on the run tonight. 7th place, career best Cup Series finish for you, and we'll see you for the finale week at Homestead next week.
Yep, thank you. Also, one more thing. Quick shout out to the EOJ community. Really proud to be getting you guys great finish today. So yeah, go EOJ.
All right. Well, we'll see you next week.
Thank you.
Coming up next, how about Knox Thompson finished 8th. Knox Thompson, you and your teammate Zane Rahman, what a run! Career best run for the team. 8th place for you, 7th for Zane. Just take me through your thoughts in this race. It was definitely a race of attrition with a lot of drivers falling out of it. You took advantage. You kept the car clean all night long and will finish 8th place, a top 10 in Texas.
I think this is tied with my career best finish. Very, very good race. Almost flipped on lap 9, which was scary. And incident between me and John was very unfortunate. Kind of trapped everybody a lap down, which was unfortunate. But also great finish for me, great race for me, great finish for the team. Great everything for the team today.
Yeah, so of course we head to Homestead Miami Speedway where both you and your teammates Zane and Ron will be in Cup and Xfinity, I'm assuming. So you guys think you could maybe even build on this to get an even better run for both those 2 races at Homestead next week for the finale?
Yeah, most likely, yeah. This is Homestead, one of my best tracks. Really, really love that track. And excited for that race. Not much to say about Homestead, just rip the top, you know?
All right, Knox, well, nice job on the run tonight. It's an 8th place finish for you, and we'll see you next week in Homestead.
Yes, sir.
One more interview to go tonight. It's John Butler, who unfortunately will not advance to the championship 4. John Butler, you guys tried your best in these playoffs. You finished 10th tonight. Ultimately, though, not enough to advance to the championship 4. You guys are going to real quick. Let me check. You guys will exit minus 31 to the playoff, to the championship 4 cut line. I mean, it's just so close at the front of the field. Even a driver that won the race tonight didn't even advance to the final 4. So, but a 10th place run tonight at Texas. It looked like you guys didn't have the best speed at times. Almost got involved in a few accidents. Just take me through some of the ups and downs in your night.
Yeah. New wheelbase. Still trying to figure things out. I got it dialed in, but Texas is just isn't my track. So much dirty out. Just it's no pass on the top, so I was basically just stuck in this one place right now. My best bet to get position was pit strategy. So after the stage, I pitted late. I was gaining positions, and me and the 08 tangled, and that kind of just killed my run right there. The right front was a little damaged, so the car was hard to turn, and that's basically how it ended for my night. Top 10 though, but I don't think I was going any further. You just can't pass in these cars, but it was a good night.
So, of course, we head to the finale next week from Homestead Miami Speedway. Of course, you're not in the position for the championship anymore, but still an opportunity for a good run at Homestead. What do you guys think you can get done in Miami next week for the finale?
I'm hoping out to finish strong. It's been a pretty good season from last season, and I'm just looking to start improving with the new cars that we're planning running. So I just hope to improve.
All right, John. Well, nice job. Still in the run tonight, top 10. And sorry you guys will not advance to the Final Four, but still ultimately a very solid run for you guys throughout these playoffs, finishing 6th ultimately right now in the playoff standings. And we'll see you next week for the championship race at Homestead.
Yep. Good night, everybody.
Well, that was John Butler, and that will do it. Your championship 4 is officially set. Real quick, you can take a look at it. Of course, Matthew White, Cameron Chandler actually passed Braden Hunsaker, who just had that bad run. Dylan Banks, Ashton Miller, of course, winning the race, just -6 on Banks. It was so close. So Banks finished 5th. I mean, we would have had to drop back all the way to like 12th place, which was very unlikely at the closing laps there. But just won an effort though for Ashton. He literally did everything he could in that race. Finished 3rd in the stage, won the race. I mean, like, what more could he have done? Dylan Banks just had a great day to go along with it. Only scored, Ashton only scored 4 more points than Dylan in this one. So, I mean, nothing you can really do about that for Ashton Miller. But yeah, what a night at home at Texas Motor Speedway tonight. We got NASCAR iRacing FedEx lobbies coming up tomorrow night. First of all, we got Michigan for ARCA. That'll be a race there. And then we got the NASCAR Truck Series at the new Roval at night. That's going to be one heck of a show. That's definitely a unique one. And, of course, the main event is going to be the Gen 4 cars at Talladega Super Speedway. So what a night we got planned for tomorrow for NASCAR iRacing FedEx lobbies. But what a night it was in Texas. The Championship 4 is officially set. We go to Homestead Miami Speedway next week. What a run that's going to be. All right, that'll do it tonight from Texas Motor Speedway. The Championship 4 is set. It's all reset. Whoever finishes highest for both Cup and Xfinity of the Championship 4 drivers will be that series' new champion. And there are 8 great drivers going for 2 titles next week. All of them winners this season. Most of them multi-time winners as well this year. Man, it is going to be intense next week from Homestead Miami Speedway. Of course, action kicks off on Wednesday night for the NASCAR iRacing FedEx Xfinity Series Homestead Miami Championship race. Then we go to Thursday night, of course, as usual, the final event of the NASCAR iRacing FedEx League in season number 4. What an action-packed season it's been. The NASCAR iRacing FedEx Cup Series Championship race at Homestead Miami Speedway. That's all to come next week, of course, to decide a new NASCAR iRacing FedEx Cup Series and Xfinity Series champion. Just 2 days of action. Of course, no iCar season is over. No lobbies as well. That's it. That's literally it. We got lobbies, of course, like I mentioned earlier, tomorrow night, starting at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time. That's the final, I guess you can say, fun event. Obviously, Homestead should still be fun, hopefully. But final, fun event of the season for the NASCAR iRacing FedEx League before it's all serious in business at Homestead Miami Speedway next week. All right, that'll do it tonight from Texas Motor Speedway. Big congratulations to Ashton Miller. First career win, finally got it done, but unfortunately, not enough points to advance to the Final Four. And Matthew White, Cameron Chandler, Braden Hunsaker, Dylan Banks, all going to be looking for a Cup Series championship next week at Homestead Miami. We'll see you tomorrow night for lobbies, but for on-track action, we'll see you for Championship Week next week. Wednesday for Xfinity, Thursday for Cup at Homestead Miami Speedway. Good night from Texas. We'll see you tomorrow night for lobbies and next week at Homestead.